Welcome back to Mary's Creative Decor. Hello everyone. For today's project, we're going to refinish this desk. Now this desk was left in my rental, and when I opened it up, to my surprise, it is a great piece of furniture. It is a Dixie desk. And also left behind was this storage bin. Now the desk, I had to clean it up a little bit before I could bring it in the house. I had to vacuum it out and wash it down a bit. I had a horrible smell, as well as there was all kind of disgusting things in the drawers. There was some kind of tissue glued to the bottom of the drawers, as well as just being nasty. So I took a scraper and scraped all that and washed it down before I brought it in. But now the little stool I have not cleaned. But I decided I'm going to paint them with my Rust-Oleum chalk paint in linen white. I also pulled out my JB wood filler, and I have my pack of sanding pads. I have from 80 to 220 grit. So we're going to start by washing down the little nightstand. I placed it on top here so you can see, but it's still a little out of focus. I just want to wash this down really well. And then I'm going to wash the dresser one more time thoroughly so that we can make sure that we've cleaned up all of those odors in that. And here's a clip of the desk and the process that I had to go to get rid of the smells. I don't know if there was animal hairs as well in the drawer, so I'm not sure what was going on here, but I just made sure that I washed everything down. And I also took the awesome spray as well as some Clorox spray, and I sprayed the inside of the wood and let it just soak so that I could get the paper that was attached to the bottom of the drawers out. So it is a process. And then also on the back side of this desk, it is painted as well. So I had to scrub that down also. And here you see me adding clear water, and now I'm rinsing the furniture off. And I'm just going to leave it outside to let it dry. Now it's a little bit warm outside for us here in the Midwest. It's like 94 degrees, so it's a little bit too warm for me to work outside. So I'm gonna let this dry and go inside. I've washed down and rinsed both my pieces and let it dry. We are ready to prepare to sand the piece. So for today, I'll be using a sanding block and my 80 grit sandpaper. I'm just gonna wrap it around the block and sand the piece. Now, normally when using chalk paint, you don't have to sand, but in this case, because of this piece having the bleed through, I want to make sure that I sand it out, and I want to make sure that it's smooth. So now on this piece, there is a lot of bleed through. As you can see, I look like pine spots. So because of that, I am going to pull out my Zinsser primer, and I want to really prime this piece. Again, this is the inside. There's bleed spots on the inside as well as the outside. So we're going to prime this piece. So I'm just going to take my Zinsser 1 3 primer and use today. I wish I had my oil base, but this is what I have on hand. So we're just going to prime this piece to cover up those bleed throughs. Now I want to also prime the top of the desk, and I want to prime the top of the desk because it is I guess a laminate top, and I want to make sure that when I paint it that the paint will adhere and stay. So I am going to prime this top as well. I was just making sure that it was free of debris before I put my first coat of primer on. Once my priming was done, I noticed that the veneer on the bottom of the desk was coming loose from the wood. So I took my Gorilla wood glue along with this trowel, and I slid some wood glue between the laminate and the desktop. I clipped it down. Once it was dry, I removed the clip, and this is what you see me doing here. I'm adding Elmer's wood glue, and I'm just smoothing it out to sand to ensure that I get a smooth finish when I paint. So I've made the repairs on my desk. I primed my pieces, and now we're ready for paint. Today we'll be using Rust-Oleum white linen chalk paint. I've taken my paint, separated, poured it into this cup, and I also added 10% water, stirred it up, and now I'm ready to add it to my painting tray. I am using a foil-lined painter's tray today because my tray has paint in it. And now I want to use this high-density foam roller to apply my paint to my storage bin. And this will be our first coat of paint. Now that I put my first coat of paint on my storage chest, I'm going to take my short handle Woodster angle brush, and I'm going to start painting the lower legs on my desk. Again, you want to make sure you use small amount of paint on the brush, and this is just so you don't have any drips or any pulls in the corner. I'm going to adjust my camera a bit so you can get a different angle, and never mind the sun, I am working in my family room. Now I just want to add my first layer of paint to the top of my drawers. I'm going to give my first coat a few hours to dry, and I'll come back for a second coat. I'm back, and I've noticed that I missed some spots under the old paint where there was drippage. So I'm just going to sand those spots down. I am going to sand off all my white back down to the yellow paint, and I'm going to smooth out those drips because I don't want my paint job to look unfinished or not nice because of some drips. So I'm just going to sand out all of those drips, as well as sand the corners on my desk. Remember, I did add wood filler to the corners of the desk. So I just want to make sure that those are sanded as smooth as well before I put on my second coat of paint. And here is a closer look at the corners so you could see what the sanding looks like. And here's the spot, and here's the other corner. They're all sanded smooth. So now that everything is smooth, here's the top of my desk, and I'm not sure what I want to do with it, but I am going to paint it. I'm going to paint the sides, and I'm going to go ahead and finish up painting the storage bin and the rest of my desk. I have my little short handle angle brush, and this is what I'm going to start with. I'm going to start to touch up my legs as well as all the corners in the storage bin. So you guys know I didn't wash my paintbrush or my roller. The only thing I did was wrapped it up in plastic and I put it in the refrigerator overnight. And as far as this Rust-Oleum paint, once again, this is my first time using the Rust-Oleum chalk paint, and I do love it. It goes on smooth, and I don't know is it because I added the water to it or what, but it's not drying fast and it doesn't have that chalky appearances like most chalk paints. So I would definitely recommend Rust-Oleum chalk paint, and I will be trying it for future projects. And this is our second coat added to our drawer fronts. Once again, guys, I told you before I didn't like the top of my desk, and I thought my recorder had captured it, but my battery died. But this is what I did. I took my top coat, Gator High by Dixie Belle, the Dixie Belle Blue Sky Black paint, and I mixed it with the Gator High. And then I added like a couple of drops of the white with it for a marble effect because I wanted it to be gray. I mixed it together. I then put it in a container or a plate, and I use my Dixie Belle applicator to apply it. And now I just want to go over it one more time to make it a little darker, and it's giving it that driftwood effect. So before I go over it again, I'm going to take my sanding block, and this is a 220 grit sanding block, and I'm just going to go over the top lightly. And this is just to knock down any imperfections and to make sure that it's smooth. Next, you want to take a clean, lint-free cloth and wipe down your piece before you add your second layer of the gator hide. Here I'm showing you my Dixie Hide applicator, and I am about to add my second coat of the Gator Hide mixture to my desktop. Even though I've speeded up my video, I'm doing my drags on this slow and keeping my applicator as straight as possible. Now I'm also making sure I'm covering the sides and the roll off from the corners. I want to make sure that I have none of this pooling on the edges that is kind of flowing over. Before I put my final coat, top coat on my desk, this is the hardware that I've chosen. Now I have sanded it down, and I'm going to spray it with my Rust-Oleum metal metallic paint. I'm also going to clean my drawers once again, and I'm going to sand the sides down and condition them. The bottom of the drawer, I will be adding wallpaper or contact paper to. So I'm going to take my hardware outside, spray paint it, and I will be back. Before I put my hardware on, I want to add my top coat. Today I'll be using Minwax polyacrylic. I chose polyacrylic because it goes on milky white and it dried clear and it should not yellow. So I am going to use this foam applicator, and I am going to put the polyacrylic on the white part of my desk. I'll also add a coat of this polyacrylic to the top of my desk and chest. To save camera time, I'm going to continue adding the polyacrylic to the bottom half of my desk. Now I'm about to wallpaper the bottom of my drawers. I did clean them well, but there was still some debris left in the bottom. I conditioned the sides of the drawer with this Butcher Block conditioner. So we're just going to go ahead and wallpaper the bottom of the drawer. And here is my desk and storage bin complete. They turned out absolutely fabulous, better than I could have hoped for. I did put wallpaper in the bottom of all of the drawers. And this piece again is a Dixie furniture piece. And the hardware is perfect on the piece. Now again, this hardware was off another piece that I did, and it works perfectly on this. And here's a look at the top of the desk. I wasn't sure how this would turn out, but I love the look. It's a look of a gray driftwood, and it is absolutely stunning. The camera really don't do it justice. Now the desk is a little bit darker than the nightstand. Again, I only work with the products that I had on hand, so when I got to the storage bin, that was all of the top coat that I had left. So I used only what I had on hand. I did not go out and buy anything. Absolutely gorgeous. I did add a coat of the polyacrylic on top of the gator hide. And here's a closer look at my storage bin. I did want the two pieces to look alike because I will be offering them as a set. So if you're out there and you're watching and you've enjoyed this video, you know what to do. If you haven't done so, hit that subscribe button. Share this video with your friends and family. And don't forget your notification bell so you'll be aware of all my upcoming videos. I want to say thank you all for watching. And have a wonderful, wonderful day. God bless, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.